Something has happened. You suddenly find yourself transported to the world of One Piece. You have a rudimentary knowledge of everything that normally goes on in the world, and you're presented with the option for 5 devil fruits. Now, these devil fruits have never really appeared before, but they all have unique abilities, and you're going to choose which one you want. It'll be up to you to determine which one you think will give you the best chance in the world of One Piece. Before we continue with the video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you more anime content, and leave a like if you enjoy it. The first fruit you come to is the Umi Model Unicorn. Now, the unicorn is a mythical animal, and it's largely recognizable all around the world, but most people don't always know what powers these creatures actually had. So, for the basic, it's obviously a zone type. It turns you into a type of magical horse. In this case, you get all the benefits of a regular zone type, so you get increased speed, strength, and endurance. In this case, obviously, that's compounded by the fact that you are, in fact, a horse, so all of that. On top of that, you get the unicorn's infamous horn. Now, you get a couple of abilities stemming from the horn itself, the most powerful of which is undoubtedly its ability to heal people. Now, you can heal them directly from the horn, or potentially some people think they can heal themselves if they get a hold of it. Now, it works much like the heal fruit in that you have to be usually willing to give it, and you have to usually tap somebody with it for the effect to occur. You can also gain the ability to, let's say, heighten your mobility. You can either airwalk or walk over liquids, and thus increasing your mobility. In some versions, they say a unicorn can actually transcend dimensions, but you don't find that to be quite what you're able to do. And the most powerful ability that this fruit actually gives is a last measure of desperation. This fruit allows you to grant one single wish, after which you will die. So in that way, it works kind of like the Opi no Mi. Now, there is not necessarily a limitation on the wish, but you have to structure it very carefully because it can have unintended consequences. Now, the next fruit is the Earth fruit, a Logia-type fruit that will grant you the element of Earth itself at your very disposal. Now, this fruit gives you the typical Logia ability of being able to merge with your element and be made out of it, so you have basically an Earth man. But on top of that, you also have an extra ability here, and that is that you can merge with and directly control the earth around you. So that is particularly powerful in the sense that, kind of like the stone fruit, you will gain the ability to reshape islands or create, basically a One Piece version of earthbending. There's a lot that you can do with this, from making fortifications to hurling boulders as an attack. It's also worth noting that this fruit, much like all other Logias, has the ability to generate its own element. So that means that you could hypothetically make new islands. That's going to be extremely difficult because, as you can imagine, much like using something like the Magma no Mi to make islands, it's going to be difficult and time-consuming to do so. However, it is a power at your disposal. Next up, we have a fruit that's actually been rumored to be in the universe for a long time, but now you have special access to a version of it. You have access to the Cloud fruit. Now, this seems to work very similar to the possibility of a Weather fruit, granting you the ability to manipulate, various types of weather, such as hurling thunderbolts or creating hailstones as potential projectiles. You can also create a fog-like atmosphere around yourself, and obviously turn into said fog or clouds for either quick escape or hiding. It's a great form of mobility and travel as well. You also have the ability with this fruit to actually be able to alter pressure around people. As conditions in the atmosphere can often shape clouds, you can shape the atmosphere around yourself and everything that you make with this. It's a highly powerful fruit, and one you should consider for being godlike in its abilities. But speaking of godlike, the very next fruit that we have up is the Hito no Mi Model Ocra. Now, an Ocra is a very powerful type of anti-demigod, and in this case, it applies a lot of power to the individual who actually consumes it. Your primary ability allows you to shift in between your regular form, a halfway form, and the full form of an Ocra, so you'll gain red skin, 3 heads, and 9 arms. This obviously makes you a combat god and, capabilities alone, but you also become highly empowered by your own anger and bloodlust. You basically become a battlefield berserker with extra limbs to throw people around and fight them with. You also have a very interesting ranged ability within this form, as the Ocra seems to allow you to correct your own energy and spew it out as a massive ball that can fire it as a projectile. It's incredibly potent, and it can even destroy ships if it's aimed correctly. This is a pretty powerful fruit, and definitely is worthy of being categorized as a mythical zone fruit. And this last fruit, the one that can easily be one of the most breakable in the universe if you're willing to use it correctly, is the math fruit. Now this fruit may sound generic at first, but it actually gives you incredible abilities to alter the world around you, as you can apply any number of quantitative functions to objects around you. This means that you can, say, add or decrease the size of an object, you can multiply the number of objects, you can also divide them. It's an incredibly potent ability, and it only gets more useful the more that you can characterize it within certain functions. For example, if you choose to add or multiply the cells within a person, they will heal faster. You can use this to become as tall as a giant or as small as a Tanata. That is a pretty versatile ability. I will admit that its one downside is you have to be in physical contact with the object that you wish to alter, and you have to have a good idea of what you're actually altering for it to work. But those two restrictions aside, this fruit is very, very powerful from an offense and defense ability. So what do you think? Which fruit will you choose before embarking on your One Piece adventure? Or do you have a better idea for a fruit? If you do, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, letting me know either which one you chose or your better idea. I might use some of them in a later video.